Hey everybody, it's Emma. Thank you very much for joining me in this video. I'm really excited to bring you this more first impressions slash wear test of the Ordinary Serum Foundation. There will be timestamps linked in the description box below if you want to look through and see what I'm going to be talking about and, skip around to different parts of the video. First, I just want to give a very brief overview on the actual brand, The Ordinary. It is a Canadian-based brand under the parent company Serum. It's very science-based. It's mostly skincare. The Ordinary has started to drift into the makeup end of the spectrum. I'm focusing on The Ordinary, so I haven't really done a lot of research on the other brands under the Serum umbrella, just so you know. They are cruelty-free, obviously, since I'm talking about them on my channel, and I do have some of their skincare, which I will talk about in a separate video. The thing about The Ordinary is, as the name suggests, everything is really pared down to the bare minimum. There's no fancy packaging, no fancy marketing. You can see this bottle here. It's very plain and simple. This is a clear bottle. The color here is the foundation inside. Simple pump, not a lot of fancy stuff on the bottle, and the skincare is the same way. That way they can keep the price point really low. The Ordinary has two different foundations out right now. They have the Serum Foundation, which I will be focusing on in this video. That is a more lightweight, liquidy, serum-like, get it? Kind of lighter coverage. They call it moderate coverage on their website. And they also have the Coverage Foundation, which, as you might guess, is a little fuller coverage. I don't have that one. I will probably end up getting it at some point, but it is currently out of stock, I think in most shades, if not all of them, but certainly in the shade that I am. This foundation comes in 21 shades, so it is a very good range, especially if you are on the lighter medium end of the skin tone spectrum. They don't have the most variety for deeper skins, as usual, unfortunately. Hopefully they will expand the range. The shade range is the same for both the Serum and the Coverage Foundation, and the way it works is they have a number that indicates the shade, and then they have a letter that indicates the undertone. 1.0 is kind of the fairest that they have, 3.3 is the deepest, and then each one will have a Y for a yellow undertone, a P for a pink undertone, or an N for a neutral undertone. In the deeper shades, the cool undertone is R for red. So the shade that I have, that I bought, that I'm in, is 1.1N. Three of the foundations, again in both ranges, have a highlight in them, a shimmer running through them. One of the very fair shades, 1.0NS. The S stands for silver, and that has a silvery highlight running through it. There's 1.2YG. The G stands for gold, and that has a gold shimmer running through it. And there's also 2.0YG, which also has a gold shimmer in it. I have not experienced what the shimmer is like in real life. I can't really speak to it, but just so you know. And also I read on the Ordinary's website that they are planning on coming out with a separate highlighting thing so you can customize your own shade. They do have a chart on their website with swatches. It still can be really tricky. There are other YouTube videos. I know Wayne Goss, he did a video on the Ordinary foundations, and he wrote in his description box kind of corresponding to MAC shade. So if you know your MAC foundation shade, that might be something to check out. There are a lot of different swatch videos and things like that on YouTube that you can search. Ultimately, I think it's just kind of best guess. I ordered from the Ordinary's website. As far as I know, that's the only place you can get it. You get 30 ml of product in both the Serum and the Coverage Foundation. The Serum Foundation is, wait for it, $6.70. Okay, and the Coverage Foundation is $6.90. So These are really, really, really inexpensive. They are cheaper than most drugstore foundation. The Ordinary also has a couple of primers. They have a hydrating primer and they have kind of a mattifying blur silicone primer. Both of those are under $5, and I will be ordering those at some point, and I will do another kind of wear test video like this to test those out. They say on their website that these foundations work well with most primers, but especially well with their own. Now, before we get into the rest of the video, just so you know, I have an oily skin type. I'm usually kind of combination, but in the summer, and certainly true this year, my skin is pretty much full-blown oily. I mean, you can already see all of the shine going on all of my face. So that's the skin type that I'm working with this foundation. So keep that in mind as you watch the wear test. Also, my personal preference on foundation is something that looks very natural on the skin. I'm less concerned with my skin looking flawless and more concerned with something looking like my actual skin. My perfect foundation just makes it look like I have amazing skin. My issues with foundation are usually something that doesn't look natural. I have a hard time keeping foundation on my nose. I'm a glasses wearer. My nose is particularly oily, so it just kind of repels foundation, especially moving through the day. So those are kind of my concerns with foundation. So I believe I've covered everything. So without any further ado, let's get into the wear test. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm looking a little worse for wear. I do not feel good, but I want to do a video on this. This is the Ordinary Serum Foundation. I have it in the shade 1.1N, which is Bare Neutral. I have used this foundation a couple of times. I want to play with a primer just for funsies. This is the NYX Pore Filler, as you can see. I haven't tried this with a primer yet, so I don't know how it's going to be. I'm just going to put this on my nose because that is the area that I find this and all foundations wear away. I'm just going to do half of my nose just to see if it makes a difference. I'll bring it down. Just use the rest. You are supposed to shake it well before use. And I'm just going to shake it up and pump some out on my hand. Now this is the Serum Foundation, so this is the lighter coverage. It's quite runny. And I am going to, where am I? I'll kind of place some of this on the non-primed side of my face. I'm going to blend this side in with an e.l.f. Selfie Ready foundation brush. The few times I've used this, I have so far tried the Real Techniques sculpting brush to blend it in, and also fingers. But hopefully you can see that it blends in very nicely. It doesn't feel heavy at all. And it really does melt into the skin. So, hello. Getting close. You can see how nicely that blends in. You know, it goes right over little bumps. It doesn't grab anything. I am not dealing with any dry skin issues right now, so keep that in mind. So now I'm gonna dot this around the other side of my face. So this side, I'm gonna blend in with a beauty blender. Oh, it feels so nice. It's nice and cool. It's not really, I mean, it's hot today because it's July. It's supposed to be hot, but it's very humid. It gets really humid where I live. I mean, not like Alabama swamps humid, but, you know, pretty humid. So that blended in just as nice. So I mean, I found that even though I haven't used this for a really, really long time, all methods seem to work. So it's really up to you. And again, it's just blended in so nice and very quickly. It seems to have blended over the primer very nicely. I don't really see much of a difference right now. I don't know if you can pick any up. This is the primed side and the non-primed side. They look the same, which is nice since I have to go out in the world. So I'm gonna do the rest of my face really quickly. I need some under eye concealer like there's no tomorrow. I always set my face as this isn't a particularly mattifying. It's supposed to be kind of natural. It's not necessarily glowy. They do have versions with like a highlighting element to them. But I'm definitely going to set this, and I'm just going to use my coverall powder from Wet n Wild. You know, the usual on a e.l.f. complexion brush, and just set that down. Alright, so this is the finished look for the day. Usually when I feel like shit, I go a little overboard on the blush just to kind of brighten up my face. I used a little bit of Wet n Wild bronzer. I used an e.l.f. blush on my cheeks from the light palette, the one shade that I kept from that palette. You can see what I'm talking about in my blush declutter video, which I'll link around. Used a very light kind of almost my skin tone gold on my eyes with a little bit of highlighter stamped just in the center to help brighten my eyes up a little bit. And I have the Milani Shadow Eyes and Almond Cream on my lower waterline, again, just to help kind of brighten everything up. I didn't use a highlighter. That's pretty much it. Obviously my brows. I will check in with you in a little while. It is 10 minutes after I should have left the house. But I will attempt to cut in videos from my phone. Be warned, my rear-facing camera, the good one, doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to talk to you from the, you know, like selfie one, which is kind of shittier quality. But I'll try to also check in on this camera, which is surprisingly better. But I'll see you soon. Hey guys, so this has been on for about 4 hours, and I'm definitely noticing that it's hanging on the primed side of my face a little bit better, at least on my nose. It looks fine otherwise, and this has been a really good day to test it because it is humid as fuck, and I feel like my whole body's just kind of melting. And it's, you know, still hanging around on the rest of my face. On the non-primed side of my nose, it's definitely kind of melted away, worn away, especially where my glasses are. I mean, that's just gonna happen. But it's definitely hanging on a little bit better on the prime side, so that's interesting. And I'll check in with you later. All right, I'm doing my final check-in, trying to focus this camera. It's so annoying. So let's see. There is still makeup on my nose. This is the prime side. It's certainly not even. It's completely gone from around my nostril, and it's definitely bunched up where my glasses were. It's definitely much more gone on this side that was not primed, but this is a light enough coverage that, you know, it doesn't look that awkward. The fact that there is still makeup on the rest of my face is frankly amazing, given how hot and humid and melty it was today. The rest of my face looks good. So it's pretty, the wear I think is, at least, you know, from my experience so far, is pretty similar to most foundations that I've tried. I've never really found anything that will stick on my nose, certainly without something underneath it. I am planning on getting probably both of the Ordinary primers, and I'll do another little wear test, especially if this video works out. Let's say this is the first kind of check-in throughout the day video I've done. But, you know, the rest of it stayed put. So, you know, it wears well.
It doesn't claim to, you know, last for any particular amount of time, but so far I'm really liking it. And obviously, you know, I'll check back in a while after I've been using it more often, and it'll probably show up in my favorites, and I'll keep using it because, you know, I've certainly used foundations that I'm like, yes, I love this, and then I don't. So I'll keep you posted. This lip, by the way, is Oh My Dolly Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit, because I figured I need something that's gonna stick on my face. Yeah, oh, by the way, let's see, it's 30, so, wait a minute, math, 10, 12. So it's been on for 10 hours. I'm gonna go wash my face, because I'm gonna take a shower, because I feel really gross and sweaty. So, yes, that has been my kind of wear test, not really first impressions of the Ordinary Serum Foundation. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, smart remarks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.